by his dad at a young age for his lack of talent. He lived in the shadows of his genius sister who made her family rich with her talents. But when a tragedy struck their home, Yuuji became an orphan that was trained by evil people to become the coldest elite soldier in the world. His journey, however, was one of the coldest anyone has ever had to witness. His parents always neglected him because he never had the same talent his sister Kazuki did. At a young age, her sketches would marvel her father and her talents exceeded that of famous artists, allowing her to win numerous art competitions and have her work sell for millions of dollars. Yuuji grew up avoiding his little sister because everyone made fun of him when he was with her. Kazuki wanted to fill the void her brother was feeling, so she became the only person who would play with him and even teach him how to throw balls. They would spend time together, and his sister supported him through everything, encouraging him to reach for his dreams because he had extraordinary potential. She was the only thing that ever brought him joy and inspired him to become like her. Even the bad drawings he would create, she would treasure them to boost his confidence. Their father, however, continued mocking Yuuji's work to the point where Yuuji destroyed his own work from embarrassment. On a random day, Yuuji met a strange man inside his home who asked him if he would like a piece of chocolate from an interesting box. His father called Yuuji an embarrassment, but the mysterious man gives a sly smile. As years passed, Kazuki began hiding her talent and even cancelled her art studies in Paris. Instead, she would spend time reading manga with her brother, saying that he should do this to make friends rather than being lonely his entire life. She doesn't want Yuuji to become the same person as their father and tells him to start working on making some friends. At the same time, her occasional paintings became the sole income of their family, but their treatment of Yuuji would get worse. His family would go out to eat every night, but only left cold stale bread for him. The only way he could eat the dry bread was by soaking it with water. Upon seeing this, Kazuki screamed at him to eat any of the food in the fridge, but Yuuji tells her that his parents would be mad at him if he did that. Kazuki's sadness grows, apologizing for not knowing how badly Yuuji's been treated and yelling at her parents for his mistreatment. Even then, nothing improved. His father would continue to blatantly show his hatred, and his mom began openly neglecting him to avoid his father's wrath. Once, Yuuji came home late and told his sister that he was playing with a friend. Kazuki wonders if she's a girl, which he tells her that it was but worries that she would bully his new friend. She tells him that she's trying to determine if his friends are appropriate for him and gets mad at him for constantly making friends with girls. Kazuki's jealousy grows, and she yells at him that he needs to get her permission to be friends with girls. Yuuji accepts, and she holds his hand, telling him that she'll find the right girl for him one day. Later that same day, Kazuki asked him if he would like to take a bath with her as normal siblings. Kazuki kissed him that day, telling him that this is the true love she shares with him. Eventually, she enrolled at a regular high school and joined the basketball team to hide her incredible talents. Her friends became like pawns of hers as she manipulated them, but her influence extended to her manipulation of her parents, and that scared Yuuji more than anything. But Yuuji depended on his sister, wishing that he could continue living that way forever until the day of the tragedy. A bus had crashed into a ravine, and a girl with red hair was the only survivor. Yuuji's father fell into depression and turned to the bottle. His wrath began growing, and his mother began hiding him whenever his father came home. The only thing Yuuji would remember is hearing his father yelling at his mom as she would just take it and say, "I'm sorry." He became the worst father imaginable, so Yuuji and his mother ran away to a new home where she finally treated him like a normal son. He would enjoy her hand cooking and felt like he was living in heaven even if they were broke. As long as they were away from their father, they found happiness together like that. But their peace wouldn't last, and a year later, Yuuji's father had finally found them again. He tells Yuuji's mom that she will lay him another golden egg, and Yuuji tries to tell his father to stop. He couldn't bear seeing his mother like that, but his dad knocked him into the fridge. As this occurred, Yuuji stared at his father and was determined to end him. He remembered his sister asking him which hand he would use to kill a man. He comforts his mom, and she asks him how far they should run this time. She tells him to run first and that she will join him afterward, giving him her entire life savings. She tells him to run to the train station, and tells him good luck doing it on his own. Without a second thought, Yuuji obeys his mom and runs to the train station. But hours pass and he begins hearing the ambulance sirens. As Yuuji heads back to his home, he finds that his father had been slashed and enters his home, only to find that he would never be able to talk to his mother again after that day. His consciousness faded, and he later woke up inside a hospital with only a note left from his mother. She asked him for forgiveness, wondering where she went wrong, and wishing that he could keep living on. With nowhere to go as an orphan, the mysterious man, Rei, became his guardian and began dressing him up as his little sister. But Yuuji attempted to ignore his harassing guardian, as he now had walls where he could eat and sleep in. Nights passed, but on one of them, Rei's bodyguard came and was ready to harass Yuuji, but met his doom by Yuuji's hands. Rei came in, surprised that Yuuji was able to follow through with it, and congratulates him on defending himself as he should have. Yuuji asks if Rei is mad. Rei told him that he will make him into a strong tool, and sent him to his military compound to train him. His days were spent becoming the coldest soldier, and he happened to be Rei's favorite pupil. But that only caused the other kids to keep bullying him. There was only one person who was kind to him, a girl named Marlene who had no memory of her past. She would treat him and even save her food for him, and he thought that she was the only person he could rely on. Rei would go by the name of Oslo on this island, and would even train using real knives with Yuuji. He taught him to rely on knives and to kill before he gets killed. After all, everyone in the world was his enemy, including his own family. Oslo brainwashed him into believing that he was his only ally. The day of the final exam came, and his test was to kill the person standing in front of him. But it happened to be none other than Marlene. He prepared to face off against her, and he began running towards her, punching her and knocking her down. His agility surpassed hers, and his blows knocked her down. Even as she tried to stand back up, he delivered a kick that knocked her back onto the ground. But his memories of his mother being hurt by his father began flashing in his head. He remembered the images he saw that day, and his mind began shattering during the match. Marlene used it to her advantage, and kicked him down, standing on top of him and smiling. She began punching him, and Yuuji believed that this was all to pay for his sin of ending his father. Before he knew it, Yuuji had lost and became a disappointment for Oslo. Inside the jail cell, Marlene comes in to treat his wounds, crying and apologizing for hurting him because she wished she hadn't done that to him. Marlene would continue trying to feed him and being the only one talking to him until the day of her graduation. She told him goodbye and that she would see him again, but that was the last time he ever saw and talked to Marlene. The nurse revealed the sad news to Yuuji after her first job, and Yuuji wondered if he'd been able to save her by beating her instead of being kind. After graduating, Yuuji took on his first assassination mission, and disguised as a maid into a rich man's room. While he was distracted, Yuuji managed to complete his mission. His assassinations continued being successful, until one day they broke into Oslo's home. The law enforcement destroyed all of the people standing in their way, and nearly cornered Oslo after destroying all of his security. They discovered an underground passage and a steel door that guarded it. After blowing it up, the only thing they found was a white-haired child sitting inside, and Yuuji's white hair fell off. Masako looks at the boy, realizing that she's found something interesting. Oslo was able to escape through the water. Masako decides to take Yuuji with her to Japan, but JB decides to follow her along because she needs to supervise the two of them. Inside the hospital, Asako commands him to get out of bed within the next 40 seconds. She hits him in the head and continues threatening him, so JB yells at her to be more gentle with the kid. But Yuuji has never experienced kindness and wouldn't know how to respond, so Asako treats him like garbage and tells him to cut this out. She grabs his face, saying that she's going to be his god from now on. Inside her home, she commands him to change his dirty clothes, but what they see shocks them in their place. His body is filled with scars and gun wounds, and he hasn't eaten in weeks. Asako tells JB to bring drinks and food for them, but at the dinner table, Yuuji doesn't eat. Instead, when a fly comes by, he crushes it with his hand. As he stares at the fly, his mind freezes and he screams in fear and throws up. Asako comes to comfort him, telling him not to puke in her disgusting home. He sleeps at night, and Asako realizes that his mind is more broken than she thought. Because while she bathed him, she saw 2 gun wounds, countless knife gouges, and broken bones. Asako thinks it may have been easier for him to just unalive, but she vows that she will protect him as his god. The next morning, Asako is sitting on top of Yuuji attempting to force him to eat, but Yuuji begs JB to save him. Asako tells him to quit sweet-talking the dumb blonde because she's so lonely and stupid she'll listen to anything. Asako gets Yuuji his own puppy that will now be his partner and tells him to take good care of it. Yuuji decides to name it John Doe, which is the code name for a corpse in the military. Asako looks at him playing with his puppy, and JB thinks that this is the first time she's ever seen him act like an actual kid. A few months pass, and Asako decides to quit her job for the intelligence agency. JB warns her that she'll be imprisoned or executed if she just quits like this, and wonders if Yuuji is the reason she's been changing. Asako reveals that she's become afraid of dying because she has to take care of Yuuji, but that she's also beginning to lose vision in her eye and can't be a good sniper anymore. At night, she goes outside and sees Yuuji staring at the stars and crying. Yuuji continues growing, and as he goes on a run, he remembers Asako's words that he needs to run faster to be popular with the girls in elementary school. As he continues growing, Asako tells him that running isn't enough in middle school, and that the bad boys who are capable of fighting are the ones who get girls. She begins training him to toughen up, teaching him to be a person who is strong and fights for the right reasons instead of using his strength to harm others. She teaches him to use whatever he needs to win, so he calls out for his dog to bite her. Finally, she teaches him that fighters are only popular in middle school, and that girls only like smart people in high school. Asako makes him read all kinds of books, whether it's manga or non-fiction, telling him that she'll buy him everything. After all of his reading, he finds Asako cleaning her gun while smoking. She asks him if he's ever fired one of these before, and takes him to the wilderness the next day. He fires his first shot from 300 meters and completely misses. However, he's determined to get it in the next shot, and Asako promises him a present if he does. He aims and fires, hitting the target. As promised, Asako gives him a case with the number 9029, which was her agent number. This sniper rifle will be Yuuji's from now on. However, she tells him that he needs to follow his path without ever giving up. Yuuji asks Asako if he could call her his master, because to him, she wasn't a mother or a sister. She was least of all a father. The only thing she became to him was a master. During the winter, Asako gathers ammunition for Yuuji and they go out together on a hunt. He aims at a deer, and Asako tells him to not waste a single bullet because they will cost the taxpayers money. However, Yuuji falters and is unable to pull the trigger. Asako realizes his weakness and doesn't blame him because he's been through more than any other kid. On a random day, Yuuji wakes up to his dog barking but finds a bear has broken into their home. Quickly, Yuuji rushes to his bedroom and takes out his gun, but only comes back to see John being bitten by the bear. He takes aim to save his dog, but his mind blocks him from taking action, and he fails to fire at the bear. As the bear leaves, Yuuji builds up his courage to go take his dog back. His life of fear will no longer stop him from saving the one he cares about, so as he runs to and is ready to aim, he slips on the snow and fires, clogging his gun. The bear notices and is ready to eat him alive, but Yuuji uses his knife to slash at the bear. The bear knocks it away in a single hit, and Yuuji's entire mind flashes with the words to end the bear. With a simple stick, he blinds the bear's eye and gets his gun, pointing it down the bear's head. A rustling comes from nearby, and he sees a couple cubs walking towards his dog because it's their food. Yuuji wonders why his dog, why his family, has become their food. He wonders why it couldn't have been any other life that had nothing to do with him, and screams in pain as he fires. He later comes back to Asako with his dog's collar, and she asks him what happened. Yuuji couldn't kill the bear in the end, and tells her that no matter how hard he tried, it was no use. She hugs him to her chest, telling him that it's okay. They spend the sunset burying his dog's collar, and Yuuji wishes he could be as strong as Asako so that he can die happily. Asako tells him that his life isn't just some meaningless excuse until he dies, and that she knows he can't kill anything unless she gives him a direct order. However, she reminds him that his food and shelter are all given by the taxpayers, so he is indebted to making sure he can protect them. In the old days, Asako tells him that he wouldn't have been able to die until he's killed 10 enemies. But now, he must save 10 people. She tells him that it doesn't matter if he's too weak to pull the trigger for his own sake, but that he should never hesitate when pulling it to save another's life. A few years pass, and Asako reveals to JB that Yuuji has completed plot development. JB wonders what kind of story she's referring to, and Asako tells her that she was the story. She tells her that Yuuji was able to experience the rising action when he removed her plot armor and climaxed all over her face before his plot experienced the falling action. JB yells at her for doing something that she should have never done, but Asako tells her that's why her plot will never be developed. After all, they're a man and woman who have been living together for 2 years. Yuuji remembers being in the shower with Asako and her asking him when his birthday was. Yuuji told her that today was his birthday, so she asked him what he would want for his birthday. Yuuji tells her he wants a nicer guardian. She bites him and he blushes, so she tells him that she'll give him the best present of all. He asks her what it is, and she says she will be the present.
What do you mean by that?
That was how his first time went, and JB goes on to ask if they've only done it once. Asako goes on to say that they've completed plot development every single day since. Yuuji comes back with the ramen, and JB pretends like they weren't talking about anything because she's afraid Yuuji heard them. Asako tells her that this is why she's never experienced a climax. She asks her to give him a try because she's trained him well, and tells her to have a few drinks in the meantime. After a few bottles, Asako calls to give Yuuji a special mission. Now that JB is completely wasted, she wants Yuuji to give her a good time. He pulls her to the bedroom and doesn't let her go. He calls her by her first name, and instead of eating the meaty dinner he was preparing, she ends up getting devoured by his meaty rifle. A few more years pass, and Asako's health begins declining. Yuuji notices her hands are shaking whenever she begins drinking, and begs her to stop because she's all he has left. No matter how many times he asks her if she's sick, she would lie to him and tell him that she wasn't. But he noticed something was wrong with her body. She began zoning out more and more, and her health began causing her to miss work. It got so bad that when she got a call, she was unable to even answer the phone, so Yuuji had to pick it up. On the other side, an agent was commanding Asako to respond to the current mission and invoking Article 9, causing her to be imprisoned if she refused. Because of her current health, Yuuji began taking on her jobs. A few days later, JB asks Asako why she hasn't been talking to her on site, but Asako admits to her that she wasn't the person doing the job. JB yells at Asako for having Yuuji take her jobs the same way Oslo forced him to, but Yuuji insists that it's his decision because he wants to one day repay Asako. JB worries that Yuuji is getting carried away by Asako's lifestyle, but Yuuji insists that this is the way for him to find meaning in his life. JB yells at Asako and takes Yuuji outside, firing bullets in her ceiling as she's leaving. Over the river, Yuuji reveals that he told Asako that he wants to be just like her, and wonders if JB knew Asako's response. JB tells him that Asako probably wouldn't want two of her in this world, but is happy that she has Yuuji looking up to her. She asks him one final time if this is the path he wishes to tread, but he tells her that this is the only way he could ever repay the debt he has for them. After they leave, Asako tells him that he's going to America to attend military school. A big black man asks him what he's in this shithole for, and Yuuji reveals that it's because he ended his parents. This startles him, but Yuuji says he's just joking. After being certified, Yuuji tells the man that he should buy his own shoes if he doesn't want athlete's foot. The soldier wonders how he knows this, and Yuuji reveals that he's been a soldier since he was a kid. But the man thinks he's just joking. In the bedroom, the man calls him an Asian boy, but Yuuji tells him he's Japanese and introduces himself as Yuuji. The man mocks him and calls him Eugene because he looks girly, but Yuuji corrects him and tells him that his crazy music is making him a deaf moron. The man takes it in good sport and introduces himself as Danny Boner because he has a big black Danny calls Yuuji shorty and Yuuji gives up. The next day, the commander slaps Yuuji in the face because he's raised by Asako, so he should be grateful and honored by the slap. During training, Danny lags behind and asks for Yuuji to wait up, but he tells him to stop all the smoking. Even as they swim, Danny's big muscles gas out faster, and Yuuji tries to encourage him. He asks him what he would do if a girl with big plot was drowning, and this inspires Danny to swim faster than a shark. During lunch, Danny makes fun of Yuuji's new face, but Yuuji tells him that their commander has been a pain recently. Danny tells him that he thinks she's a gorilla that would never get married, but Yuuji calls her attractive. Danny thinks that Yuuji is insane, but Annie comes from behind and tastes Danny's big punisher. During range practice, Yuuji shoots every single bullet on point, which surprises the commander, as Asako, the best sniper in the world, was the only one who used to accomplish such a feat. A girl hears their conversation and oversees Yuuji being awarded first place in sniping. She comes up to him later at night asking him to talk with her. She introduces herself as Millie, and Yuuji wonders why pushy women are the only ones he gets. Next to the swimming pool, he restrains her after she punched him until she apologizes. He recognizes her as the second place sniper and asks her what she wants. Millie tells him that she meant marksmanship, and they go to a range together. With her weapon, she tells him that her father used to hit these targets when they were out of range, but believed that all of it was just him being drunk and lying. Yuuji's first shot misses, and she tells him to chill out because he only has 6 shots left. Yuuji asks her what the color of the sky is today, and takes aim and fires, hitting the target. He tells her that her father probably wasn't lying, and Millie finds a person she can trust. After that day, his training was complete and he was sent overseas for his final exam. Aboard the ship, Danny asks him what he bought with his money because he was able to get a car, but Yuuji reveals that he only got a lady's watch. Danny makes fun of his watch and Yuuji's Asian persuasion, saying that Yuuji's been giving Millie the small hour hand while Danny could be giving her the long minute hand.
Emotional damage!
Millie hears his vulgar language and kicks him. While they argue, a random weirdo is playing a dating simulator with his little sister and loses his mind as she takes her plot armor off. They wonder how he's shamelessly doing this and wonder what language he's speaking. Yuuji is cultured in this subject and knows that he must be a fellow man of culture from Japan. Day after day, Yuuji was commanded to do as he was told and build his confidence, until one day they were deployed into the actual battlefield. Inside the forest, Yuuji looks at his squadron: a former car thief and thug from Arizona, a poor girl who used to sell herself in restrooms, an anime otaku who wants his sister, and finally, a sniper that can't kill anyone. They were the most useless group in the entire army, but Danny interrupts his thoughts and asks him if he would like to get that bird for food. Yuuji takes aim and fires, hitting the bird, but begins throwing up. He wonders how he would handle killing a person if this is what a bird did to him. Inside their tents, they're introduced to their acting commander on the field. Their days of setting traps began, but one night, Yuuji realized that enemies were coming for them. They get in position as the battle begins and Yuuji fires to neutralize the enemy, but throws up after shooting. His friends continue fighting on the front lines as they wait for reinforcements, but Yuuji begins faltering. His commander tells him to close his eyes and realize that all of his friends, his only family, may die. The ones he's spent this entire time and shared laughter and food with them. All of them are his family fighting to protect him from the enemy. The commander tells him that the enemy isn't human, and that it's okay to hesitate when killing people, but he shouldn't sit back and watch his family dying helplessly. His commander tells him to kill them and that he will assume full responsibility for it, that he gives him permission to do it. One by one, the enemy fell down, and even as Yuuji hates it, the commander continues counting the amount of enemies being neutralized. Not a single shot is wasted, and the entire enemy front line gets annihilated. Yuuji continues wanting to battle, but the commander stops him, telling him that everything's fine now and that he can sleep peacefully. After falling unconscious, Yuuji wakes up in Millie's lap, who comforts him. She tells him that everyone's been saved by him and that they will always support each other, and that she will never let him die. After a while of being on the battlefield, his resolve became stronger and he wasn't influenced by the constant battles and explosions around him. Danny, however, begins losing sight of what this war is about and what winning even means, but their deployment comes to an end and Yuuji survives that terrible background along with all of his friends. As he leaves back to his homeland, Danny comes up to Millie and asks if she'll be fine with her boyfriend's leaving her. She tells him that they said their goodbyes yesterday and destroyed their relationship, so Danny swoops in and asks her if he can make her feel better by destroying her with his 10-incher. Millie stares at the window where Yuuji was and prays to God that Yuuji will find happiness in life and be blessed in everything that he does. In the gathering twilight, Yuuji boards a plane home. It was a windy day when he returned to his familiar mountain, and the paths were just as he remembered. His welcome home was Asako, and she thinks that he looks more mature now. After great plot development, Yuuji tells Asako that seeing her face was the first time he's ever been glad that he's alive. Yuuji tells her that he doesn't know what to do with his life, but that he wants to give every bit of it to her. After that, he finished his final training after the Vancouver International Airport, and that was the last time he'd ever seen Danny's friendly smiling face. As everyone cried, Yuuji wondered when Danny's joke was going to end. A few months passed, and during one of Yuuji's missions in Spain, JB called him to come home immediately because Asako collapsed. The only information he'd received is that it was a chronic condition from being shot many times in her life. Doctors tried to treat her, but her body had become extremely fragile from all the substances she was forced to take during her deployment. Once he arrived, JB told Yuuji that Asako's been drifting out of consciousness very frequently, and that she's been dozing off longer. Yuuji sees Asako, apologizing for taking so long to get home. She holds his hand, and Yuuji asks her if she is dying, to which she says that she is. She apologizes for always lying to him that she would stay alive with him. He begins crying, telling her that he hasn't learned everything from her yet, but she tells him to stop crying and to be more of a man like she taught him. She tells Yuuji that she's finally understood what her life means now that she's about to die. It was her resolve that allowed her to save him and spend her life with him. Yuuji cries, telling her that she was his only saving grace in a life that betrayed him at every point. He tells her that he wanted to believe in her till the end, because she was the only reason he had for living. Asako tells him to live his life for his own sake from now on. After all, that's the type of man she's always wanted him to become. He tells her that he can't, and that he only survived because of her. Every time he was cold, she was the warmth he could turn to. He wonders what type of future it's going to be without her, but she encourages him to find out for himself, to keep fighting and struggling, and to be the man she always wanted him to become. She tells him she's accepted that she's going to pass on, but Yuuji asks her who gave her permission. Even if it was God, Yuuji wants to fight him off to keep her by his side. Asako tells him to stop being so silly. He spends the rest of the time with her, and she tells him the stars are so pretty today. Yuuji looks outside and tells her that the stars are very pretty today. Asako tells Yuuji that she remembers him looking out at the stars and crying when he first came to live with her. She asks him what he was thinking about, but Yuuji tells her that he can't remember. Asako laughs, telling him that she knew his response. She tells him that she's tired and asks him if she could go to sleep. Yuuji tells her that she can go to sleep, and after that, Asako never woke up again. Her body was taken away by JB's subordinates, and Yuuji tried to pull himself together by the time she was cremated. JB let him know that they found a bullet among the ashes, and Yuuji thinks that it really befits Asako's personality. Weeks pass, and Yuuji wonders if he would go to the same place as Asako when he meets his doom. But he will not allow that to happen yet, not until he's fulfilled his promise to Asako of saving 5 people. This is his only purpose left, but someday he wishes to see her again. Yuuji sleeps on the floor for days, but JB comes to slap him awake. Staying in that cabin where Asako's presence still lingered was filling Yuji's head with thoughts he shouldn't be thinking of. So JB took him into her apartment to live with her. Living together, they would compensate for each other's wounds and supported each other, or at least they thought they would. During dinner, JB tells Yuuji that he can ask for anything, and he tells her that he would like a better toothbrush because the current one is too soft. Flustered by this, JB asks him if he's been using her toothbrush this entire time, and Yuuji tells her that she's been brushing her mouth with his long and rough toothbrush, so it shouldn't matter. JB realizes how dumb she was and buys 2 more toothbrushes. Yuuji apologizes, but she tells him that she should have expected him to be as crude as Asako. Sadly, Yuuji became a thing that reminded JB of Asako, which bothered her, and neither of them knew how to connect with one another once that happened. She would stay up and ask him if being with her would remind him of Asako. She cried one night, apologizing because it's too difficult for her. As days passed, JB began coming home less and less. With all the time he was left with, he wondered if he should go on a journey. He remembered Asako telling him that if there's a path he doesn't know, he should stop and try to find his way through it. Even when making wrong choices, he should try to broaden his view and discover what lies ahead of him. She promised him that they would go on a journey together on her motorcycle, but she never made good on her promise. Yuuji gets up, telling JB that he's going on a journey wherever the wind takes him, and promises her that he will come back. Yuuji was surprised that she let him go so easily because she will be lonely at night, but drives on Asako's motorcycle. Days pass and he meets with people from all walks of life while camping. He continues going through the rain and even messages Julia that he loves her. Somewhere in the middle of the road, his bike breaks down and he has to tow it. A man comes up to him and asks him if he would want a ride to somewhere safe, but Yuuji says that he's just an idiot running around with no place to go. The man laughs, thinking it must be nice to be young, which changes something in Yuuji. At nights, he wonders if being young is what he's missing, and emails JB that he's going home. He opens a drink to give to Asako's grave, and apologizes that he came back without understanding anything. Yuuji apologizes for breaking her bike, but he hears Asako asking him if he had fun. He tells her that he enjoyed his journey, but wonders what he should do now. He feels like this journey has taught him what he's missing, and thinks that he needs to just take another shot at being young, and going to an ordinary school as an ordinary student. A few months later, however, Yuuji was sitting in front of a criminal detective, who interrogated him about his identity. After all, he apparently has no parents, no siblings, and no friends, so the officer screamed in a fit of rage, asking him if he's an assassin, but Yuuji told him that he's just a student. An hour later, Yuuji was released, and the sergeant apologized because they got a call from the Ministry of Defense on his behalf, commanding them to let Yuuji walk freely. On his first day out, the principal greeted Yuuji and began driving him to his new high school. But she wondered why he was arrested before his first day, so Yuuji revealed that he was carrying a pistol in his backpack. Those words made the girl scream with her hands off the wheel, and Truck-kun was about to find his new isekai victims. But Yuuji took control of the wheel and saved them from entering that shithole genre. However, the girl had already pissed herself and nearly ran into another car before they arrived at the academy. This was the normal school he had wished for, and inside the gates, the principal introduced herself as Takabana. But Yuuji noticed something was off. Even though it was a weekday, the campus looked like a ghost town, so the principal revealed that there's only 5 other students living on campus with him. But Yuuji had one last question, and asked her if this was truly an ordinary school, so the principal told him that it truly was a normal school, but because of his conditions, this was the only facility that could accept him. When he got to the dormitory, a maid appeared behind Yuuji and introduced herself as Carmine. But he wondered why the fuck she was wearing a maid uniform when she's a student. She showed him to his room, and while he thought it looked well maintained, there was something off about it. That night in the baths, he wondered if this was truly going to be an ordinary life. In the morning, Yuuji decided to flash the entire population with his huge plot, and took an eye drop and a shot of grape juice before beginning his 26-mile run. Although he was in a different place, nothing had changed since the time he used to live with his master. He remembered the way she taught him to be a fast runner to get the girls when he's young, and in middle school, it's about defeating others in fights, but after that, it's all about how smart he was. He continued remembering how she was the only person that had been a hope in his life, but because of her overwhelming attitude, he's realized that he got tired of dealing with overwhelming women ever since. Just as he opened the door to leave, a red-haired girl fell in front of him and exposed her plot armor, while another orange head ran in front of him and jumped on the couch. The red-haired girl jumped on top of her and started trying to brush her hair, and Yuuji wondered why this seemed like a plot development setup. He tried introducing himself to the girls, but the red-haired girl was shocked to hear his name. However, she tried introducing herself back, saying that her name is Suu Amane, and made Maki introduce herself as well, but she was too startled to shake his hand at first. As he walked around school, he met the tsundere, Michiru, and by the end of the day, when the night arrived, he realized that everyone was home. But since there wasn't any homework in their school, the only thing they could be doing was playing with themselves. Video games. He decided to ignore what they were doing and just enter his room, but noticed that someone had broken into his room because of his tape trap. He barged in, screaming not to move, but Amane's plot defied gravity and just kept bouncing in front of him. He wondered why a stripper was in his room when it's not his birthday. She laughed at how blunt his reaction was, and when he walked in to open his fridge, she asked him how he kept walking so calmly into his room. So he told her that she was the one who's flaunting her giant plot cannons, but he thought they looked amazing. A few minutes later, she told him that he seems to be used to women, so she wondered if he had an older sister to deal with. Yuuji revealed that he used to have one, until she passed away, so Amane apologized for bringing her up. However, she wanted to ask him what his sister's name was, and Yuuji told her that it was Kazuki. Hearing that name shocked her, but she finally finished changing, and asked him if she looks good. But Yuuji told her she looks worse than his dead dog.
Emotional damage!
She thought he was cold, but asked him what those mysterious containers on the table were, so he told her it was his dinner. After hearing how miserable his meal was going to be, she decided that she was going to prepare dinner for him as his new big sister. But he told her that she needs to be careful with those words, because he was raised in a household straight out of Alabama. After she left to prepare him some food, Yuuji realized that something was off, because his door was locked this morning. And since there was no evidence of it being destroyed, he wondered if she was able to lockpick the door, and realized that she was the one thing that was extremely off about the school. She remembered the day when their school bus fell off the cliff, and the horrifying scenes she saw that day, and said the words, "I found you." Yuuji realized that this wasn't a normal school at all, and that each and every single one of those girls likely had something off about them that they were hiding. Just then, he received a call from JB, telling him that there's been a new mission assigned to him, so he took out his suitcase and placed the code in, realizing that this wasn't the ordinary school life he dreamed of. The following morning, JB showed up and asked him if he was enjoying his new school life, but he said he was liking it a lot more before she showed up. She was sad he was still giving her the cold shoulder, but she asked him if he was enjoying this new ordinary life in his ordinary school. So Yuuji told her that the only thing that wasn't ordinary was how ugly her face was. She told him to be careful or he might accidentally pass away, but he told her it would be better than seeing her ugly face every day. JB realized that his words just clapped her harder than he used to, so she decided to leave, and pulled the sickest drift as she drove away. When he got back to class, Amane asked him who the dumb blonde was, so he told her that she was just his boss from his job. But when Amane asked him what he did, he told her that he just cleans up garbage, so she could consider it to be dirty work. However, she sat down and told him there was something important she needed to know, asking him what his relationship with the blonde girl was. He called her stupid and asked her if he looked like the type of guy to have a girlfriend, but she thought he was a mystery. However, as long as he didn't have a girlfriend, that was all she wanted to know, and walked away. Once she left, Yuuji noticed Michiru was eavesdropping, but she told him it's not like she likes him or anything like that, and called him a baka.
Nice tsundere da, Michiru.
After Yuji's daily run, he noticed that Amane was trying to break into his room, but snuck away and tried listening to her. As she looked for him, she was upset that she couldn't give him a wake-up kiss, but he realized that she could just be playing dumb if she's noticed him by now. She began looking through his clothes and started smelling his shirt, thinking that it's going to make her go wild. She jumped right on his bed and began begging Yuuji to stop, but Yuuji realized that this bitch was obsessed with him, so he decided to just walk in while she was in Paris. However, she was startled to see him and asked him how long he's been there, so he said that he watched her this entire time, telling her to look on the bright side, because at least she noticed him before things got worse, but she screamed at him to get out of the room. Later that day, Amane sprained her ankle during gym class, so Yuuji ran to carry her into the nurse's office. After treating her injury, Yuuji began walking away, but she latched onto him and begged him not to leave yet. After getting tired of her, he told her to spit out what she wants from him already, so she asked him to go out with her. He asked why, so she told him because she loved him and that it was love at first sight. She told him he looks hopeless, so she wanted to be the thing to help him keep living. However, he told her to stop bothering him already, which hurt her feelings, but she asked him if she could be his big sister instead. However, Yuuji told her that they're not in Alabama right now, but when she told him that he's crushing all of her hopes, Yuuji said that he'll play along as her little brother for the time being. She began petting him on the head, but he wondered why she was acting so weird. During class, she came and brought him a present with Maki, but he wondered why she's trying to interfere in his life so much. Amane apologized to him, saying that she was just doing this to make herself feel better and put her meat into his face. While he thought it was tasty, Yuuji felt like he was suffocating, but realized why he felt that way. After his master died, he tried secluding himself from the others, not realizing how badly he needed a normal life. He wondered if he truly deserved to feel a piece of happiness like this. Amane told him it's okay, saying it's okay for them to share food, and stuffed her flaps down his mouth. A few weeks later, Yuuji decided to bike back to his home with Maki to celebrate Asako's birthday. And when he got home, he saw that JB had left a portrait of all three of them, but he asked Maki to keep it a secret from the others. When the sun was setting, Yuuji went to Asako's grave and said that it's been a long time, petting John's grave. He introduced them to his new friend, Maki, and she thanked them for raising him. When she went to sleep, Yuuji called JB to let her know where he'd disappeared off to, and told her good night, calling her Julia. Before walking back in, Yuuji stared at the sky, telling Asako that he remembered what was on his mind at night, that he just thought the stars were pretty. After he returned to Japan, JB drove him home, but as he was about to leave, she grabbed his arm and kissed him on the cheek. After she drove off, Yuuji felt something was going to be longer than his sniper rifle. When he got inside his room, he saw Amane had ironed all of his clothes, and she asked him if he wants to eat first or take a shower.
What did he say?
He wondered why she's been throwing herself at him like this, so she confessed that it was just love at first sight. However, he thought it was too convenient, but she had already prepared dinner for him. As he ate, Amane got an email from one of the girls, and she asked Yuuji what the fuck he's doing with the dumb lonely blonde. He revealed that she's right on the money, because she's his lonely dumbass boss called JB. Amane pretended to believe his words, but thought that he was just trying to make her jealous, so she hugged onto him and told him that she might end up making him jealous, but he told her that his big black friend is already dead. She told him she won't try making him jealous if he kisses her, so he realizes that he needs to teach her a lesson, and grabs her, telling her to close her eyes. Amane pulls away and says that it was her first kiss.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god.
She calls him a liar, thinking he kissed way too good for it to be his first time, so he promised that he'll be more careful next time. However, she wondered if that meant he was going to kiss her again in the future, so he said that he wouldn't do something so reckless without being prepared to follow through. She wondered what he meant, so he confessed that falling in love with him was her choice, so he accepts those feelings. But he can't promise that he'll always be there for her. If he were to ever disappear or die, he asks her not to cry, but to forget about him within a year. She accepted his conditions, but asked him if he truly liked her, so he revealed that he doesn't understand his feelings because of his life, but he definitely likes her. She wondered if this meant that she's his girlfriend now, and when he told her that she was, she got on her knees. Her legs were shaking, because she was so happy that she's Yuuji's girlfriend now, but Yuuji called her a creep and tried helping her stand up. However, she told him that she's vulnerable right now, so he can develop all the plot he wants with her. But when he saw her hand shaking, he smacked her on the head, telling her not to get carried away. He confessed that he's never dated a girl before, but still didn't understand why she loved him this much. So when she tried saying it was love at first sight, tears began falling out of her eyes, and he wondered why she was crying. After a bit of silence passed, she revealed the school she went to and asked him if he's heard the name Kazuki. Those words stunned him, and he told her that it's his sister, so she revealed that 6 years ago, the girls' bus fell off the cliff and all of the girls disappeared, but she was the sole survivor. He wondered why she's been hiding it all this time, so she revealed that she's known he was Kazuki's brother ever since she heard his name. But she couldn't tell him, so she got up and told him that there's something she'll show him. When she got back, she showed him a journal she used to write from back then, and Yuuji opened it. On a sunny day, the girls' basketball bus was going back to school, but the tire went flat and Bus Kun was about to take Truck Kun's job to isekai more victims, so it fell off the cliff and was completely destroyed. By the time Amane woke up, Kazuki told her to get off already and handed her the glasses when they made it out of the bus. She wondered who they should save first, so Kazuki revealed that she'd start by saving the girl she hates the most, because if she saved her last, she might be too tired to bother saving her by then. Once all the girls were rescued, Kazuki tried looking for signal, but neither of the girls had any connection. On top of that, the compass wasn't working. They were surrounded by cliffs they couldn't climb, and the only path left was a dangerous jungle. Back at camp, Ritsu realized that their teacher had a mild concussion, while Hiruka had a fractured knee, Sakurai was cut in the stomach, and Kanade scratched her head. Kazuki told her that she could treat them, and asked her to boil some water to close the wounds. As she prepared to do the stitches, Kazuki thought she'd start with Kanade first, because she has the most minor injury, so if the others pass away soon, at least she won't waste time examining. Amane wondered if she had any friends, but Kazuki said that she was her only friend right now. After treating all the girls, Kazuki realized that her own arm was cracked because she tied the seatbelt to brace for impact. The teacher finally woke up, and Kazuki tried explaining the situation to him. A piece of metal likely fell from the truck in front of them, which caused their tire to pop. Now that they were stranded away from the rest, the president suggested that they stay in place and wait for rescue. But Kazuki rejected that idea. They barely have any food and water, so they need to try and escape before they run out of resources. However, the president called her a moron for thinking she could survive in the mountains, so Kazuki apologized for overstepping. While Amane was gathering stuff from the bus, she wondered why Kazuki apologized. So she revealed that she only apologized because the president will be forced into admitting she's right. But Amane thought this was the worst time to be playing around with their lives. While all the girls camped for the night, Amane wondered what Kazuki was doing right now, so she revealed that she's reading a book. Because if she ever lays her eyes on a page, she can memorize all the words with her photographic memory, and read it anytime she would like. The following morning, Amane saw a girl throwing her phone up in the air to get some connection, but Amane thought they were absolutely screwed. As she traveled through the forest looking for Kazuki, she found her hiding in some bushes, but she revealed that she was just collecting some edible grass. After all, they might not be rescued within 3 days, but Amane told Kazuki not to run off on her own because she was worried about her. However, those words shocked Kazuki because she never thought a person would be worried about her. When she got back to camp, one of the girls told her to stick with Kazuki because she tends to sulk while she's alone, so she told her that if they're ever in an argument, she should just tell her certain words, and whispered them into her ear. Inside the tent, Kazuki and Amane began treating 2 of the girls who were injured, telling one of them not to scratch her wounds no matter how bad they got. From a river, they gathered some bottled water, but Kazuki told her that if she ever wanted to switch to pairing up with another girl, she wouldn't be upset with her. However, Amane remembered the words the girl told her to say, and confessed to Kazuki that she likes her the most out of all the girls, and asked her if she felt the same way about her, but realized that she was actually making her blush. She kept asking her if she likes her, and hugged her into the water. But before Kazuki could yell at her, she heard the sound of a helicopter, and all the girls tried screaming for help. However, the helicopter flew straight past them, but Amane had an idea, so she ran into the bus and slammed the horns, causing the helicopter to fly back, but the helicopter never returned after that. At night, Kazuki stayed up. When the third day arrived, the bodies of the girls had began rotting, so the teacher carried and buried them in the forest. But Amane wondered if help would ever come, or if they would end up meeting the same fate. While they picked flowers, Kazuki revealed that she has a little brother, but she's sad because everyone views him as inferior to her, and even her parents treat him like he's worthless. However, she told Amane that she loves him, but Amane began crying, because the only thing she wants to do is to go home already. Kazuki hugged her head, and promised that she'll do everything to get her home. On day 4, food was beginning to run out already, and day 5 was wasted because it ended up raining all day. On day 6, there was only 10 carrots left. But Rutsi realized that they were a carrot short, so Kazuki realized that someone could have stole it. But because it'll cause paranoia, Kazuki decided to chop all the carrots up, and when they were all in pieces, she rearranged them to create 11 carrots, revealing that it's a famous puzzle. Amane started thinking that Kazuki's intelligence was scary. When day 7 arrived, the girls who were injured had lost all their appetite, but when the club president left the room, Kazuki apologized for not noticing until now. She's realized that Hiruka hasn't been eating anything because she was afraid of the others finding out she soiled herself. Kazuki spent her time trying to comfort her. As she sat alone, Amane wondered why Kazuki wasn't showing her that kind expression. But she snuck up from behind and saw an injury on her neck. Realizing she was upset, Kazuki promised that Amane is the girl she'll always come back to when things are bad. So when she saw that the bleeding wasn't stopping, she tried sucking out any possible venom. On day 8, Kazuki promised that she would sacrifice everything to protect her, and told Amane that she loves her. When day 9 arrived, the teacher decided to go deep into the forest to find a path out of this miserable situation. The 10th day came, but the rain wasn't stopping, and Kazuki told her to stop speaking her thoughts out loud while writing her thoughts in the journal. She told her to eat some snails to cheer up, but Amane was starting to get tired of those disgusting snails. Back at the tent, Kazuki realized that one of the girls had worms growing out of her wound, but told Amane to just take care of Hiruka. As Amane tried treating the girl, the only thing she kept saying was that she wishes to get isekai. During day 11, one of the girls had already began losing her mind, while another girl was getting sad because her dog was starting to come down of a fever. Still, the only thing that brought them hope was that their teacher might come back with help. But their hope was already thinning. They had already resorted to eating insects and drinking unpurified water, causing their stomachs to hurt all night. But at least when they slept, they could forget about all the pains temporarily. Komori's dog passed away on day 12. But instead of burying him, Kazuki suggested they eat him. Komori cried, but she also agreed with them. However, one of them had to butcher him, so Kazuki decided to do it. Although there was barely any meat, everyone cried that they were finally able to eat something. With this single bite, their lives were extended, and they would never forget that taste for as long as they lived. The cursed 13th day arrived, when Komori collapsed from eating a poisonous flower bud, and never woke up. The injured girls are constantly in a delirious catatonic state, and all of them were already starting to give up hope. The only thing Kazuki could think of on day 14 was her brother, and Kazuki promised that she'd introduce Amane to Yuuji if they ever got back. Just then, the teacher finally returned, glad that he was able to find his way back. However, all that meant was he failed. Hiruka passed away, and while the teacher carried her away, all of them had the same thought, but none of them dared speak it. After realizing how vile she'd become, Amane collapsed. Day 15 came, and it brought 2 more passings with it. But the only thing Amane could think was at least there was one less mouth to feed. All of them began wishing for the others to pass away, but the president came back, telling them that the teacher managed to catch a deer, so they should enjoy the venison steak to stay alive. Amane came to tell Kazuki that they finally got some meat, but she decided to pass because it might contain diseases that'll end her life. Seeing how Kazuki wasn't going to eat, she rejected the meal as well, so someone grabbed them. But that same night, Kazuki woke Amane up to show her that the president and the teacher were heading into the forest, so now was finally their chance to sneak out. She told her that they'll leave this place and make it home, But there's no time to explain, so she told her to hurry before anyone else notices her. She told her that she can't take anyone else with them, because they're all ghouls at this point. As they walked through the forest, Kazuki told her that she'll show her everything, and as they arrived, she told her to take a look. Amane saw a lot of wood because they were in the forest, but screamed when she laid her eyes on a student uniform, so the teacher realized that someone was hiding there. Immediately, Kazuki pulled her to get away, and as she ran, she realized that all of them weren't eating deer. The teacher continued getting closer to them like he's straight out of Attack on Titan. But Kazuki turned around and slammed his face away with her backpack, knocking him unconscious. Amane wondered if she was dreaming, but Kazuki told her that it's better if they stop thinking of their friends like they're humans. Sakuma appeared before her eyes, but she told her that she's a lost cause because she was already on their side, so Kazuki began running away. This was the world they're living in, the rule of this life, but Amane collapsed and began crying. Kazuki tried to comfort her, reminding her that she promised to save her from this horrible world. Another girl was screaming to look for them, and they saw that all the girls had teamed up against them, so Kazuki began trying to run away, but they were spotted. Amane tripped over a branch and couldn't stand up anymore, telling Kazuki to go on by herself. However, she gave her the backpack she was carrying, and left her a map to see the path for escaping this forest. Amane wondered what she was planning on doing, but Kazuki promised that they're going to meet again one day, and pushed her away, telling her not to look back no matter what happened. Amane started running away, and as she ran, she realized that Kazuki wasn't going to survive, because she'll sacrifice herself for a coward like Amane. When she turned around, she saw the way Kazuki was struggling, but she also saw her smile, as if she told her not to worry about what's going to happen, but to live on. Without any idea how many days had passed, Amane kept trying to survive, but promised not to eat the sweets inside the backpack, just in case Kazuki ever caught up with her and still wanted them. On a fateful day, however, it was as if she saw Kazuki's ghost along with all of her friends, and when she tried reaching out to them, she collapsed on the ground, but heard and saw a car driving by. She had finally made it outside of the forest, and when she saw the cabbage patch in front of her, she began eating as much as she can, and crying tears of joy. This was the way she managed to survive all alone. When she returned to school, everyone began bullying and accusing her, thinking it's disgusting how she's living a normal life after the things she did. Every morning, she would wake up and throw up, and no amount of therapy helped her get through the guilt of being the only one that lived. But just then, the perfect man appeared to punish her for her sins, and she revealed that it was Yuuji. She'd been keeping quiet about it this entire time like a coward for sacrificing his sister, and she wished that she would be able to become his sister to make up for the person she stole from his life. Yuuji wondered if she's only been getting close to him out of guilt rather than affection, so Amane told him that he was right. However, as time went on, and as she kept living for him, the sin inside of her started lightening, and she began really falling in love with him. But she told him that this is the worst outcome, because now she can't ever be punished by giving her life for him, since it's everything she wishes for. That's why she decided to tell him everything that happened, and say goodbye to him. She asked him if he would be able to use his sniper rifle to penetrate her body with his bullet shot. This was the only way she could be forgiven, so Yuuji told her that he would take her life with his hands, but then smacked her on the head. He told her that a girl who can't take a tap to the head is too weak to be asking for such things, and he told her to stop apologizing. After all, he only had one sister, so he told her to stop acting like one, and told her to wait while he thought about what to do. He realized that no matter what the reason was, she's fallen in love with him, so he told her to get up, and told her that he'll make things clear. Everyone lives with a regret, and the words "forget about it" are useless in the face of the deep regret she's living through. He told her that she was willing to offer her life for him, so he told her that he accepts, and for the rest of her life, her punishment will be to live for his sake. He told her that he'll become her king and god, and that he wants her to stay with him forever. And if she ever disappeared, he'd hate her for the rest of his life. She hugged onto him, crying his name, but he told her that she looks ugly as f when she cries.
Damn!
She begged him to just let her cry on him, but he told her she needs to finish within 3 minutes, take it or leave it. The way Yuuji saw it, this was the only way to save Amane. Because if he can accept her knowing her past, then he hopes that one day she can forgive herself. But until then, he will keep giving her the punishment. When she calmed down, he asked her if she truly believes that Kazuki passed away. After all, her body had never been found, and if there's 10 people, Kazuki could definitely create 11 bodies, the same way she did with those carrots. While the idea may be far-fetched, there's definitely a possibility of her being alive. From the backpack, she showed him the note that Kazuki left over for where to meet if things escalated and they were separated. Yuuji realized that it was Kazuki's plan from the start to have Amane escape alone, so Amane begged him to take her to that place. The following morning, Amane went off to buy some flowers for the graves, and some ugly man came up to Yuuji and introduced himself as Sakashita, claiming he was a big fan of Amane because she was famous. The man said he's got big things to do, and started walking away. When Amane came back, Yuuji revealed that he just met a very creepy fan of hers, but they began driving away. As they walked to the site, Yuuji asked Amane if she was fine, but she told him that she's feeling a lot better since she talked to him about it. Eventually, they arrived at the marked stone, and Yuuji dug up a thermos container, and when Amane opened it, she saw a letter hidden inside and began reading it. It said, "To my friend Amane, if you are reading this, then it's been a few years." In the letter, Kazuki revealed that everyone died of illness. Apparently, Hiruka's meat contained diseases that killed them all after eating them. Amane was the only survivor because she never ate her friend, so Kazuki thinks it's Hiruka's way of saving her for respecting her body. However, she knew that Amane was probably thanking Kazuki for risking her life, so as a request for saving her life, Kazuki asked her to help her brother if he was ever suffering. She told her that Yuuji is a useless coward that is hopeless, but he's still her brother, and the only thing she regretted leaving this world for. Her last wish was for her to watch over him, and she hoped that they'll meet again if she's still alive, calling her the best friend she'll ever have as long as she lives. She wondered if this meant Kazuki could still be living, but Yuuji didn't know either. However, he did know that the letter was definitely his sister's. The memorial site now had a path for where they could have went, but Yuuji told her that it's not like anyone could have known where to go. Amane got on her knees and confessed that she'll never get past this, so instead of apologizing, she promised to thank all of them from now on. But Yuuji noticed that one of the names was Sakashita. When they started walking back to head home, Amane received a call from one of her friends along with Yuuji, but they heard a creepy man's voice over the line, and he said that he was the girl president's father, revealing that he's come to punish her. He made all the girls hand their phones over to Yuuji on the line for him to hear them. After he hung up, Yuuji noticed his phone was still on, so he began driving home and requested support from JB and the rest of the agency. Amane wondered just what type of hitman Yuuji was. Back at the school, the shooter saw cops sneaking around, so he began trying to shoot them down. The SWAT team surrounded the entire building, and Yuuji finally arrived with Amane, but she was shocked to see the type of people Yuuji actually worked with, remembering the dirty work he talked about. However, she was determined to save her friends. With the school having high walls, and with no tall buildings nearby, sniping was going to be extremely difficult. But Yuuji knew of a single spot where he could lure him to, the ventilation system in the bathroom. He said there was a lighthouse that was 900 meters away, but this was going to be their only option. She told him that he's only going to have a 10-centimeter field of vision, but he revealed that it was actually 15. When she heard those words, JB realized that he was the legendary person who shot the bandit from a kilometer away 4 years ago. It wasn't Asako. However, the only way they could lure him there would be if he uses the second urinal, but Yuuji knew there was a marine among the girls, so he was going to use her. While they all waited, Maki saw a blinking light coming from the lighthouse and realized that it was Morse code for destroying the right urinal. Immediately, Maki began pretending like she needed to go to the bathroom, but Michiru asked her to come along. Saichi told Yuuji what just happened, and he thanked her while taking aim from the lighthouse. Inside the bathroom, she wondered how to break the urinal, but the man kicked Maki into Michiru, and she ended up falling on the toilet and breaking it with her head. Once he confirmed that it was destroyed, the man told Amane to hurry and get inside already, so when she was about to go inside, Yuuji told her to bring as much water as she could and make the man drink. Eventually, she entered the room and tried giving the man some water, and after downing 4 bottles, he told her that his daughter was torn to pieces while she still goes walking around with her friends. He told her that the only way for her to repent would be to either shoot her or have all of her friends be shot. She told him to hurry up and let her friends go free, but when he got closer, the man knocked her head with the back of the gun and started throwing her around. The man wondered what she's been eating, and as Yuuji heard her scream, his phone ran out of battery and turned off. He asked JB for the status, but none of them had any idea, so she asked him if they should infiltrate, but he told her that he's going to continue waiting. The man dragged her to have a tea party, but Yuuji kept waiting. The creep shoved her into a stall and told her to wait. He walked up to the toilet.
少し水分を取りすぎたようだな。今から狙撃する。
In that instant, the man fell from the pain of his shoulder being grazed. But Amane ran away with the gun. The cops entered the room, and the girls were all rescued while he was getting dragged away. After putting his sniper away, Yuuji noticed the 10-centimeter field of vision he fired from, and asked Asako if he's gotten a little closer to her. He walked back to JB, who told them that they were all safe. The principal congratulated him on his hard work, but he told her that even if this school isn't ordinary, this is his school, and he went to see all the girls, who hugged him. That same day, a giant police ship was tailing an unidentified yacht, but a man came and shot the ship down, along with the helicopter that was tailing.